Hello, hello, and welcome to A Kinda Crafty Kenzie. So today we are just going to have some fun doing some farmhouse style DIYs. So let's go. For this first DIY, it is kind of like a trash to treasure sort of one. As you can see, I am using these little leftover containers. These are what the assorted buttons come in at the Dollar Tree. I have 4 here, and I kind of like had accumulated quite a few of them over time, and I kept saving them because I thought these are such a cute like little shape. There's got to be something I can do with these sometime. So here we are. I just went ahead and covered them with some plaster chalk paint, and then I went over top of that plaster real sporadic like with some celery, then set them aside to dry. Now I am just going to take this leftover Valentine's Day sign that I have from Dollar Tree as well. I did remove those hearts and save them, and now I am going to sand off as much as I can of this glitter. To simply attach these signs vertically, I just use some of these jumbo craft sticks from Walmart, and I don't put glue in the middle of my signs, no wood glue, no hot glue, nothing. I literally just use these craft sticks to adhere these together. I do this all the time with my larger signs, or with signs that I want to piece together to make a larger sign, and I have never had any issue with them coming apart. Now, after I got them all attached, I did flip it over and use some of Dollar Tree spackle to go down like the crack where the two signs met up so that the crack would not be so prominent in the finished product. But I actually probably could have skipped this step because I do go ahead and cover it with 1 coat of white chalk paint, and I'm actually going to cover this entire sign with some scrapbook paper. I got this scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby, and this is like the thicker, almost cardstock style scrapbook paper. I did go ahead and attach this with a glue stick. I've been finding that this has been working just as well as Mod Podge. Sometimes I feel like Mod Podge, sometimes I don't. So it just depends on my mood and on the project. So I wanted to move this one along. So as you can see, I just used a glue stick from Dollar Tree, and I did attach 3 whole pieces down. That way I could just go ahead and cut like 1 single cut, and then I knew all the scrapbook paper was nice and lined up, and all of like the boards and the way it looks like faux wood, like all lined up and went together. Look, you guys, I am no longer using my utility knife, aka my weapon. I got a craft knife, so I'm so excited. And then I just went ahead and sanded the edges of that scrapbook paper to get rid of like any excess or any pieces that were kind of sticking out to make it more smooth on the sign. That way it didn't look so obvious as scrapbook paper on wood. Now you can see that I am making like little succulent containers, I guess we could call it that, with my little button containers. Sorry for the shaky tripod. I do believe one of my children were just like, I don't know, walking with their eyes closed around me or something. I have no idea. So now I am actually using my square and trying to line my little containers up the best as possible so that they are evenly spaced apart vertically and that they are as centered as possible on the sign. So that's it. I just attached another kid. I just attached them with some hot glue right down on the board, and they worked out perfectly. Now I am going to, I don't know, go crazy on this pour floral foam with this scraper, and then I just put the foam down inside the little containers. I couldn't glue it because it didn't go in that smooth, and I didn't feel like getting burnt today. Now I am going to use some nautical rope from the Dollar Tree and create my fake knots. This is what I like to do because I am too lazy to get my drill out, even knowing it needs to make its YouTube debut because it is so cute. It's pink and pretty, and I love it. But I was just lazy. Anyway, so this is just a quick, simple way to go ahead and make it look like your rope is coming through your board when really it's not. You just tie a knot with your nautical rope like I did and just simply glue it to the front of your sign, and then just go ahead and make sure it's lined up with the rope that you're going to use as your hanger on the back, and just attach it, and no one will be the wiser except me and all of you, because I've now told you my secret. So Don't tell anybody. Anyway, so I just glued that down like so, and that was it for that. Now the fun part. Let's put in some florals. This only took 45 hours because I am OCD and I just am weird about every little container having the same amount of certain different kinds of floral picks. And yes, but I don't know what it is about, like when I work with green like this, I think that the light purple, like the lavender, like ties in best. I'm just loving the lavender mixed with the green for some reason. Let me know what your favorite colors are for spring. I think I've asked you guys before, but I don't know. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But tell me again anyways. So I love the way this turned out, you guys. I think it's so precious, so simple, so easy, and it was so inexpensive. If you are new to my channel today, I just want to take a second and say welcome. My name is Mackenzie, aka Kenzie. I am a stay-at-home mom to 3 little girls, and I am from a very small rural town in Pennsylvania. I am obsessed with anything to do with home decor, so I love to DIY, repurpose, turn trash to treasure, craft, upcycle, recycle, and of course a thrift flip. So if you love stuff like that, you are gonna love it here. I can also be found over on Instagram and on Facebook, all under Kinda Krafty Kenzie, and all of those links are in my description box of this video and in my bio. Now let's craft some more. For a DIY number 2, I am just going to use some of these leftover Easter signs from obviously 4th of July, and then I did pop off those bunnies to use next Christmas. Are you paying attention? Just checking. I'm just kidding. Anyways, then I went with my super high-tech method of attaching these signs together again with some Walmart super jumbo craft sticks. I did get a little desperate towards the end here. As you can see, I was running out, so I was pulling out all the scraps and all of the craft sticks that I could manage to pull out of my, like, I don't know, bag of leftover pieces that I'm just too weird to throw away. But I'm glad I was, because look, they came in handy. So now we're going to go ahead with some spackle and fill in that little crack again. And then I did go ahead and fill in those holes where the hangers were originally. After that dried and I sanded the excess away, I went ahead and gave this sign 2 coats of the white Waverly chalk paints. I did lose some footage, but you guys see those beads there on that skewer stick. All I did with those was give those like a kind of coat of white chalk paint. If I missed some spots, no big deal. That was the look I was going for. And then I just simply removed them from the skewer stick and went ahead and thread them on some twine to make a hanger for the sign. To get my beads to go on my twine easier, I like to put just a little bit of hot glue at the end of my twine and just kind of roll it in between my fingers to almost make like a little cap, and then that helps my beads slide through really, really well. Sometimes I use tape, but most of the time this is my go-to method. Then I just simply tied a knot at the base of the beads where I wanted the hanger to stop, and then I left some extra jute, as you can see at the end, so I had something to glue onto the sign. I reinforced with a couple of popsicle sticks or craft sticks, whatever you want to call them, and then since this is a gift, I decided to go ahead and cover the back because I wanted it to look completely finished. Normally I do not cover the backs of my projects, but like I said, since this is a gift, I wanted it to look not like the hot mess that it is, but like I had my stuff together. But in the end, I ended up not having my stuff together because I did not pay attention to the way the sign is shaped. And when I picked it up to look at the way it was going to hang, it was going to hang super lopsided, even knowing the hanger was in the middle of my sign. So I had to cut like little holes in the back of the craft paper that I covered the sign with and literally rethread my twine and kind of redo my hanger. Then I just reattached the twine on top of that craft paper and then recovered it with more craft paper. Like I said, it's a gift, but it's going to a family member so they understand. And just don't look at the back. That's just going to be the motto of my projects. Don't look at the back. But then I did want to go ahead and trim up that craft paper, obviously, around the edges so that you couldn't see it from the front. So I simply took my craft knife and did just that. So I could have totally created a family sticker with my CRICUT since I'm like a professional now and all. Just kidding. But when I saw this sticker decal at the Dollar Tree, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. I knew this was going to be perfect. So when I got it a while back, I grabbed a couple of them in mind to make this gift for somebody. And I thought this was going to go absolutely perfect in their home, in their style. So that's how I completely planned this entire project, was around this Dollar Tree sticker. These are absolutely so pretty. Sometimes Dollar Tree has the most gorgeous things, and this is like one of them for me. So anyways, after that long rant, what I'm doing now is just going around the sign with some of that Waverly wax and antique and my little chip brush. Now I'm going to create some shiplap signs, and the reason I did not do this before I put the sticker down was simply because I did not know I was going to do this. I wanted a really white, crisp, really pretty farmhouse sign, but all said and done, it was too white. So I went ahead with the shiplap lines, and then I went ahead with that same Waverly wax, just a little bit in that little brush, and I just went over the whole thing. I did kind of emphasize around the edges of the sticker a little bit, and yes, I am using a makeup brush from the Dollar Tree to put on Mod Podge over the sticker, because I do not like applying Mod Podge with paintbrushes, and I'm all out of sponge brushes, and that actually worked really well. Then I took some of these lamb's ear floral picks. You can get these from any craft store, Amazon, Hobby Lobby, wherever. They're pretty reasonable, Walmart, wherever you can find them. I just put 4 of them together, as you can see, in like a little valance style. I did cut off some of those excess stems, that way they weren't poking through, and then I decided I was going to attach them to my sign. So I went ahead with some hot glue and stuck them down, and everything was fine. They stuck well. That's all going to change here very soon, but usually the projects that kind of give me a little bit of trouble kind of turn out to be my best ones. Now I am going to make a messy bow. And this is my OCD brain making that messy bow. I have the hardest time with these because I want the colors to go a certain way. I want you to be able to see certain ribbons, and oh, you guys. Crafting and OCD, it's a challenge, but I think I do it well. Anyways, so then I just cut a little bit of that jute twine and cinched it in the middle, and I tied it really tight as I could without breaking the twine. Now I'm just going to simply glue it down on top of my lamb's ear right there in the middle where you see that jute twine where I attach them together. So I was relying way too much on that hot glue, and I just simply hot glued the bow right down onto the lamb's ear, and when I picked it up, bloop, it was too heavy for it. So I just went ahead and completely attached the bow to the lamb's ear with twine, then reattached it to the sign with E6000 and hot glue, and then I also did the same thing with my little SOLA wood flower with E6000 and hot glue, and I think this sign turned out absolutely gorgeous. I am in love. This next DIY can't get much easier than it is. I just took one of these small little candle rings from Hobby Lobby. It's just a lamb's ear. I think they're so cute. I love to style these as like small wreaths on some of my mini windows that I have in my home, or use it simply as a candle ring holder. All I did was take some of my SOLA wood flowers, the mini style, really pretty muted tones, and just simply attach them down to the wreath. I thought this was just a nice simple way to spruce these up, to really bring in that spring and summer vibe, and it looks gorgeous on any little farmhouse window or simply as a candle ring holder. I use these all the time, and since I am super obsessed with my SOLA wood flowers, I thought they would be a perfect addition. For this next DIY, I'm going to do something completely different, and I'm not going to paint at all. So I also am going to print out a mason jar off of my CRICUT, which you can see that I did. I did not get it off Design Space. I got it simply from Google as a PNG, but I will go ahead and link that below in the description box if you want to recreate this. I did the opposite though. Instead of pulling off the edging of the mason jar design, I pulled out all of the middle, the parts that you would normally keep, because all I want is literally the outline of this jar. I want it to look like an empty jar sitting there. or stuck on there. You understand what I'm trying to say. So I did have a lot of trouble getting this to transfer because it was such thin vinyl. Don't worry guys, I also kept the middle of that to use later. I wasn't wasting that, but this definitely took a minute. It was super delicate. It was hard to get up and it was a little bit hard to get down. So I took my time, went really, really slow and kept going back over it with my little scraper over and over because I did not want to tear that tiny, tiny vinyl. Like that's literally the part that you're supposed to throw away. So, but I love this. I thought this was so pretty and I didn't paint it because everything's always painted in projects, you know, and I just wanted to try something and simply just put it on a piece of scrap raw wood that, of course, my husband has in his wood shed that I just grabbed, didn't care about the size, just grabbed a piece of wood and said, let's try something, and here we go. So, of course, this project needed some floral. Hello, it's spring. And yes, I had to use my SOLA wood flowers again because they are my obsession. They are gorgeous. I absolutely love them. I'm never going to part with them. They're always going to be in my DIYs from here on out. In fact, I have an order placed of what I want to be buried with. So I cannot stop. Then I just took a little bit of these lamb's ear pieces off of one of those little lamb's ear stems. And I just simply cut the leaves off and put them down in behind the flower to give them like that little pop of green. I thought the lavender and the muted tone of like that really pretty muted green and that muted kind, almost like a little bit of a gray, and then these little white roses. I thought that was so gorgeous and soft and just so pretty. I am obsessed. And all of these colors in these DIYs today, they just completely complemented each other. It's so sad that they're all leaving me. Like I'm literally, at least we have this video and I can look back and watch it. But then I just took a couple of these little tiny stems that came off of one of the Dollar Tree floral arrangements and I just put them in here and there to just give it a little more dimension. Then I got a little bit cray-cray here and I decided to use 3 different kinds of ribbon. Look at me getting all creative. And the satin cream color one and the green one came from Dollar Tree, and you can plainly see that other lacy kind came from the His and Hers wedding collection from a Hobby Lobby. Can you guys tell I just got a Hobby Lobby order recently? Like, yeah. So I tied the twine around to put my bow together, and then I immediately was like, ew, I don't like that brown twine. Well, at least not the way it looked. But then I came in on top of that bow with a little twine bow, and I thought it was absolutely perfect. You guys, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I'm gonna miss it. It's so pretty. I love it. This next project is like the black sheep of the video because I just talked about color scheme and this guy's going to be a little bit different. So I got this window and this little box from the Dollar Tree, and all I'm going to simply do is go over this window, really heavy-handed whitewashed effect on the window. I want to cover that black, but I don't want to completely cover the darkness of it. You know what I mean? I want it to look very whitewashed and very aged, but I definitely don't want it full coverage. I would have spray painted. It would have been way easier to paint for that because of getting in all those like little nooks and crannies. Now for the little box to match the window, I have to paint it black and then do the same thing. So that's what I'm doing here. While I was painting this, my children were near me and they were just watching very quietly, and I realized they were like, Mommy never paints with black. So what is going on? I hardly ever use black. So when I do, I feel like it's like, ooh, something is crazy is coming. And I ended up covering myself just as much as the project. So I don't know. But I did cover this with the black, like I said. And then after it dried, I went very heavy-handed again with like a chip brush from the Dollar Tree, same as I did the window, and gave it a nice whitewashed effect. I think it looks really good. I definitely would not have used black as my base if the window wasn't already black, but I did not want to have to spray paint the window and then go over it again. You know what I mean? I was just trying to give myself a little bit of a break and not have so much work. Now I'm just going to attach the window to the box with some hot glue, and it held pretty good. I didn't use E6000, but so far so good. Everything's fine. And then I just reattached that Home Sweet Home because it tied in just perfect. And it was really adorable, even though it was basically just like cardboard. Then I just put some floral foam. I did glue it down into the little box just to kind of keep it in place. And sometimes when you have floral foam with florals in it, it gets a little heavy and sometimes it'll like fall out and transport or something. So I didn't want that to happen. Then I just glued some floral moss down on top of it because I like all my projects to be a mess like this. It's so fun to clean up. And now I am just cutting some sprigs off of this floral that I got off of Amazon. You guys, it is linked below. You can get multiple colors, so it might be linked in purple, white, or yellow. I'm not quite sure whichever one I grab, but you can get like 6 different colors of this. I think you can get red, you can get like fuchsia, maybe blue. I can't remember all the colors, but it is linked below, you guys. Just click that link and it'll take you to the other colors. Then I wanted to keep it really simple, but I always like got to get a bow in there. So I just took some of this really pretty white ribbon from Hobby Lobby. It's just real simple, and just tied a simple little shoelace bow style, gave it some dovetails, and attached it to the front of the box, and I think it's adorable. You guys, I did want to let you know, and make sure you stay till the end of the video to see the final reveal on all of these projects. So for this last DIY, I am just going to take this little square block that I got from the Dollar General back on Valentine's Day. I grabbed a couple of these because I thought these were a perfect like little piece of decor to work with that you could simply put on a tier tray or on a shelf or something in your home. It was just like a perfect little block to work with later on. So I did remove that U. I planned on trying to save it, but it just crumbled, and that little stinker was hard to get off of there. The Y was the only one that just pinged right off of there intact, so I did have to pitch it. Then I went ahead and covered this whole block with some white chalk paint. I was going to put scrapbook paper on both sides of the sign, but around the edges I knew that it was going to be exposed, so I definitely wanted to cover up that pink. I didn't want any of that pink to come through, so I actually gave each side, like the edges like this, 3 coats of the chalk paint. But like I said, the 2 sides that I'm going to work with scrapbook paper only got 1, just to, you know, so that none of the pink came through anywhere. So I chose some of the scrapbook paper that I used in the previous project because they're all going together. So like I said before, I wanted everything to, you know, coordinate, and I just simply attached that down with a glue stick and then used my crafting knife. I did get this from Hobby Lobby, you guys, and I recommend it. I really love it. It's stronger than a X-Acto knife, but it's not as big and like weapony as my what's that called, utility knife. So anyways, I love it. Then I took some scrapbook paper out of this cute little farmhouse like home again scrapbook paper book you can get from Hobby Lobby. My dog is distracting me. I'm so sorry. You probably hear her barking. But anyways, I chose this really pretty greeny design for this side, and I just went ahead and attached it the same way with my glue stick, and then went ahead and removed the excess with my beautiful little craft knife. I love it. Then I did go ahead with some sandpaper and sanded down any of those edges around the sign that were kind of sticking up. That way it didn't look obvious like there was scrapbook paper on top of wood. But be very, very careful because that pink will come back through really easily. So somehow I lost the footage of me tracing my paint jar to make a perfect circle, but I mean, obviously that's not that exciting, so you didn't miss anything, don't worry. And then I just simply went around it with some hot glue and attached these little beads that I get from the pack on Amazon that are always linked in my description box, and just glued them down to make it look like a little wreath. I want to make a big one of these, but for this person that I'm creating these gifts for, I definitely wanted to create like a small one like this. Like I said, this would be perfect for a tier tray or something, so I'm super excited to give it to them. Then, you know it, SOLA wood flower coming in to put on that little wreath, and then I added some of these little sprigs of eucalyptus around it just to give it a little bit of green, and this side of this DIY is all done. So for the other side of this little DIY, I am going to take some of these little tiny craft bottles that you can get from the Dollar Tree. They are glass and they come in 2 different sizes. So I took one of like the larger size and glued it down in the middle. And then I took one of the smaller sizes and glued them down on either side. After I had them attached, I really wanted to keep them clear, but I've thought about, you're going to see the floral stems in them, and I didn't really want to be able to, so I did decide to go over them a little bit with some white chalk paint. I kept it very minimal on how much paint I put on it, you know, gave them just like a little bit of a messy whitewash brush look, and that way, you know, it would cover up the stems, but you weren't taking away from the glass jar. I just think glass jars styled like this are so pretty. And then I just took some of these little sprigs of greenery that actually came off of those like purple flowers that I worked with in the last, or you know, in the earlier DIY that I told you I got off of Amazon. And then just some of these little yellow pieces that came off of a Dollar Tree floral pick. Then I just wanted a simple little bow on this side, so I just tied a little tiny jute twine one and attached it to the middle jar. And this DIY is all done, and like I said, it's perfect for a tier tray or a shelf, and it's reversible, so I absolutely love it. Now let's get into that final reveal and take one last peek at all of today's DIYs.
Starts racing, but I don't know if I like this chasing and playing and waiting around. It's a shame that my hands start shaking all of the time when you're around me. But this time, girl, I know what's bothering me. I need somebody to love. Oh, nah, 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 nah. Don't you see what's wrong with me? I need somebody to love. Oh, oh, na, na. God, I'm sick of this waiting. You got me going crazy tonight. So why don't you come on over and be my somebody to love? Somebody to love, somebody to love, somebody.
Thank you guys so much for coming along with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I absolutely love making these DIYs and loved how each and every one of them turned out. I cannot wait to give them to the person that I'm gifting them to. I think she's going to love them, and I love when my creations give other people joy. It just makes my heart so full. Just like you guys do all the time, and all the wonderful comments you leave me and the nice things y'all have to say. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If you are already subscribed, you know you're awesome and how much I adore you. And if you aren't already subscribed, I hope you go ahead and consider subscribing before you go. Don't forget to hit that like button before you leave, because it does help my channel to grow. In fact, I have grown all the way to 5,000 subscribers. I am so excited about that. I never thought I would be here already, and as promised, I am doing a giveaway. So if you have made it this far, you are going to be entered in the giveaway. As long as you drop your favorite emoji in the comments, I am going to do a raffle on my next video next week, and we'll announce what the giveaway is going to be. I think you'll like it, especially if you love to craft and love my crafts. Again, thank you guys so much. You are all the best, and I could not be here without each and every one of you. Go ahead and follow me over on all of my other social media platforms to get more information about the giveaway and some behind the scenes stuff and some more of my personal life, especially over on Instagram. All of my social media media links are in the description box below, along with Sola Wood Flowers website and any of my Amazon links. I will see you guys every Tuesday and Friday at 6 p.m. unless I'm doing a collab or another kind of special video, and that will be a bonus week because you'll get to see me 3 times. Aren't you excited? Okay guys, see you soon. Bye.